And welcome back to Coffee Unlimited with J and D. We are so excited to be here, and we are kicking off a series. So we haven't done a series before, but this is our first series where we are going to be looking at our belief systems. And what I am excited about is hearing from Janelle about when her beliefs started to crack. We just came off of a 3-day offsite here in San Diego together where we had deep discussions, reflections, ideation. And one of the topics that came up was around cracking our belief systems. We also ate a lot of food, yummy food, had tons of coffee too. And now we're back in our home spaces and here to just dive into this conversation and setting the stage for our belief systems. So, Janelle, I'm so happy to see you. You're back in Vancouver with your family, and yeah, excited about this conversation.
Yes, I'm back. I'm about 5 pounds heavier and 2 shades darker, which that's the sign of a good vacation.
I love that.
Like it was so
Yes.
sunny in San Diego. I think your Nespresso machine was working overtime with me there with you because I feel like you were making coffees for us nonstop. But it was really great to connect with you in person. And this topic particularly, you and I sat in your backyard talking about a lot of different things, catching up, talking about our childhoods. And when we got on the topic of beliefs and where we've cracked them throughout our life. That to be a really juicy, deep conversation, I felt. So I think it's great that we're going to kick off a series on this because there's so much to explore with this topic of where do our beliefs come from, and what is the impact of our belief systems. And so since I left you just a couple days ago, I've been thinking even more about this topic, and I've been asking myself, when did I start questioning my beliefs, like really questioning them? And I know that there were times throughout my life, whether in my childhood or definitely through college, where I would learn something or hear something that maybe was contradictory to what I had originally believed. And for a moment there, I thought, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And when I tried on the belief and really put myself in the shoes of the belief, I thought, there's some validity to this. Maybe my belief is incorrect. So I definitely had moments of that. But I would say the past 15 years or so, I've been on this journey of deeply questioning everything I believe. And I attribute it to probably two things in my life. The first one being my professional work in diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is all about looking at the systemic reasons why people are excluded and the impact of those exclusions. And it really comes down to belief systems. So belief, the cultural beliefs, the societal beliefs, and so with those beliefs comes systemic oppression, as an example. So there's the DEI work that I've been deeply in, and then the other one is I think I've mentioned this in this podcast before, but I've struggled with depression for many years, and through professional help, as well as my own personal conviction to get better, I've learned that for me, the source of my suffering is my thoughts, and even more particular is the source of my suffering is the beliefs behind my thoughts. It's the beliefs that create the suffering. So, as an example, if I were to gain some weight and look in a mirror and think to myself, I am fat or I look fat, that thought or that statement is a neutral statement in itself. It is neither positive nor negative. It is literally just a sentence, it's a combination of words. But because I have an underlying belief that thin is better, thin looks better, fat and cellulite is ugly and bad, because I have that belief, when I have the thought I am fat, that creates a whole wave of negative emotions and negative feelings.
Mm.
And then that can spiral into a lot of different behavior and more thoughts and more images in my head of what I should be versus what I am now. And that's where I start to dig myself into a hole of depression. And so, through my work of my therapist and the work I've done, it's like I've been exploring, where do these beliefs come from? Why do I have the belief that thin is better? I wasn't born with it. If you think about it, if you think about, in the Western world, most 6-month-old babies are quite chunky. They are fat. They have so many rolls. They've got rolls that, you could lose pocket change in those rolls. They are so deep. But you look at the baby and they're happy. They're not thinking, "Oh, I look so terrible. Oh, these rolls are awful. I need to stop eating. I need to, do something about this fat." No, they're just looking at their toes and laughing and
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 we
being
see
and being
them,
happy.
I mean,
Yeah.
we see them as perfect,
Cute and
right?
adorable.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, it's exactly right. I love when I see a cute, juicy baby, and I just want to, squeeze their cheeks and stick my fingers in their thigh rolls. Am I the only one here? You like that too,
No,
right?
I like doing that too. I
Okay, like
know.
just get right in those thigh rolls and just feel them. Yeah, but then there comes a time where at some point we start to feel differently about fat. And it really is because of society or our
Mhm.
upbringing or our what we heard as a child, because most of our biases, preferences can be established by the age of 4, which is kind of
Wow.
mind-boggling. But in the
Yeah.
DEI space, they've done a lot of research on this, and a lot of a person's biases are established at a very, very early age. And then once those beliefs are established, they can really influence how you see the world and what is good, what is bad, what is positive, what is negative. And that shapes your experience of the world. And
Mhm.
so, what are the things that shape our beliefs? Of course, it's the environment that we were raised. So whether it's parents or guardians, grandparents, extended family, wherever the kind of nucleus of our family is, what we heard at a young age, the beliefs of those influential adults in our life. Our education system establishes a lot of our beliefs. The religion in which you were raised, if you're raised within a religion, religion plays a big part in shaping our belief system. And then just the general society, so government, the rules in which you live your life.
Mhm.
So as an adult now, I have come to deeply understand how my beliefs shape my thoughts and my emotions.
Well,
And oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, the other thing that I wanted to add into that list is marketing.
Mm,
And TV,
yes,
social media has such a
media.
high influence and a strong influence in how we see the world and what is good, what is
Exactly.
attractive, what's unattractive.
Exactly. And when I think about youth these days,
Hmm.
yeah, so there's a myriad of ways in which our beliefs are established. And I think as humans, to be, um, members of society that and free thinkers and independent thinkers and make and have the ability to make decisions based on what truly is right for us. It's important to question our beliefs and allow those cracks to come in so that you can then explore the origin of them and also explore alternate realities or alternate truths. And so that's kind of been my journey. It's really been in this very personal space of looking at the causes of my depression but then also in the professional space of why humans behave the way they do and why they treat others the way they do. And so I'm curious, Danielle, when did you start questioning your beliefs or recognize that you had certain beliefs and maybe question them? So what was your journey for that?
Well, thank you for sharing about how the beliefs get established and sharing also from such a personal space. I love how you shared from that individuality of your work through depression and your experience there, and then what you're doing in terms of the collective, looking at the systems, especially in that space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it really is like a me to we work that you're in. I think probably the first time I was kind of shocked about my belief system was when I realized that my mom wasn't perfect. And so it was like, oh, wait, what? It was
Oh,
the first time I'm like,
yes.
wait a second. And then a series of other events that occurred. But it wasn't until I really started to do the work of meditation that I started to question all of my thoughts. And I
Mm.
remember hearing at one point, question every single belief you have. And so when you had shared that earlier in the podcast too, that over the past 15 years, you've been questioning everything. What's right, what's wrong, what's attractive, what's not attractive, just questioning them. And the work of meditation is really powerful because you get to see your thoughts without reacting to them. So ideally, you're sitting, you're seeing those thoughts, and later you can ask yourself, where is this thought coming from? Who is this thought from? How old do I feel? This is actually a pretty powerful inquiry I've found in my own journey is how old do I feel when I have that thought, I'm not good enough? Or I'm not
Mm.
smart enough, I'm not ready, all of those negative beliefs that we have. And so,
Mm.
as you were mentioning, they are really established at such an early age, those thoughts that are ingrained. I mean, studies are showing that we have somewhere between like 40,000 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. Even right now, as you and I are in this podcast, we're having some thoughts that are probably outside of the conversation that we're having right now, too. Like, maybe, oh, look at my frizzy hair or something like that.
I had that thought.
You had that thought. Frizzy is good. I want to see a product at Sephora saying, here's to frizzy hair, right?
Here's to frizzy hair.
Exactly. It's not
Here's to
smooth curls.
embrace it, and here's how to keep it.
Yeah, frizzy curls. But anyway, just looking at those thoughts, not reacting to them. And most of our 60 or 80,000, whatever it is, whatever those thoughts are conditioned. And we have those same thoughts every single day.
Hmm.
So if we're not doing anything to interrupt that pattern, and some of the ways, just like us having this conversation right now about questioning our belief systems, the listener listening to this conversation and starting to question what are some of the beliefs that I hold that I feel that are true, but may not be true for others, and maybe they're actually not true. That kind of inquiry, then yeah, we're just in this space of not even recognizing that we have a belief system. We're not even aware
Hmm.
that we have a belief system. So I think just being in this conversation is one of the ways in which we can interrupt that pattern. And when we can
Exactly.
interrupt that pattern, then there is an opportunity for a brand new, unconditioned, innovative thought to arise.
Oh, I love that. Or even a more kind thought. When I think about as I
Yeah.
go throughout my day, I'm pretty good at not saying my thoughts out loud. I think as a child, my mom used to say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was a quiet child. It was very quiet. I'm still a pretty quiet person. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking something. I just know better. I just know better
Right.
than to say it out loud because it will
Mm-hmm.
be hurtful or it's not true or it's my ego, whatever it might be. And so, when you say, these 60 to 80,000 thoughts are really conditioned and they're on repeat every single day. I know that because I've seen it in my meditation practice. I've
Mm,
seen the same thoughts over and over and over again. And it's difficult or nearly impossible to stop the thought from happening. But what you can do is recognize that the thought isn't true. Or you can recognize that the thought itself is neutral. The thought is nothing. The belief is giving me a reaction to it or making me angry or making me happy. And and then also recognize that the belief is conditioned, from how I was
absolutely.
raised and
Yeah.
where I was raised and what country I was
Mm-hmm.
raised in.
Oh,
And
so
so
much about the country. I mean, you and
the
I know we had this
country,
conversation over the weekend where I was like, we need to get out of North America. Like
yes,
this aesthetic, this strive for aesthetic
perfection.
perfectionism that who knows who set, like some
Hmm.
person or brand set what looks
Brand,
good.
probably media. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
probably to sell product. And they
Oh.
created a whole country that believed that this is the ideal body type, or this is
Mm-hmm.
the ideal way to look. This is the ideal way for your hair to look. It shouldn't have gray hair. It, all the companies
What are you
that
trying
want
to
to
say right
sell.
now?
I'm just, I was looking at you and it popped in my head. And I
I know,
love that
right?
you're so natural, right? And so I just think this is such an important conversation that we're having, and I'm excited that we're going to make it a series because there's so much to explore here. Just think about what a happier world this that we could live in if people questioned their beliefs and started to crack those belief systems and question their beliefs, question their reaction to their thoughts, and question why they're reacting to these thoughts or why they believe the things they do. Because then I think as more and more people look at this, I think we'll have a more kind, more compassionate, more accepting, more inclusive world. And there's nothing but good that can come out of that. So I'm looking forward to us diving into this more, Danielle. I'm so glad that we've kicked this off and we've talked a bit about where beliefs come from and we've explored how do we start challenging those beliefs? How do we start cracking them open and creating space for inquiry, for curiosity, for a different reality or a different truth to be present? So, if you're listening in and this topic is interesting to you, well, buckle up because we're going to go deeper in our next sessions and we're looking forward to it. Who knows where it's going to go? Danielle and I don't plan these ahead of time. We just kind of go where the conversation goes, but there's a lot to talk about on this topic. So, subscribe if you haven't already so that you know when we release our next episode. But definitely tune in on Wednesdays. We like to drop our new episodes on Wednesdays to help you get through the week. But you can find us on Instagram, Coffee Unlimited with J and D. You can pop in any topics or questions you have there, and we're happy to dive into those topics. So thank you, Danielle, for kicking this off.
Thank you,
And thanks for
Janelle.
hosting me at your place and just creating this rich environment for us to talk about all these topics.
Look at this outcome from our offsite. Incredible.
I know, I know. Well, we'll see you all soon.